Texas Platinum. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe and like. We've got a lot of momentum with our channel recently, and we want to keep that going. We thank y'all so much for being here. But I'm sure y'all are noticing right now that Trevor and Matt Madrid are not here, and we got this strange looking guy here.
That's me.
Yeah, Thomas. That's mainly because the Arctic blast that just came through Texas, and a lot of people are without power, and Madrid and Trevor are also unable to film right now. So we wanted to get this one out. So how's it going, Thomas?
It's going pretty good. So just to tell you a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, I'm Thomas Vargas. I just recently graduated from UT actually in May. I was a bio major there for a little while. I was a part of the podcast for Texas Platinum very early on, and I've come back, done a little bit more work recently. But myself, Matt Myers, and Matt Madrid we're the ones who kind of ideated Texas Platinum, and then we recorded it in in my apartment very early on, and then brought in Trevor to help us out, who's been a great addition to the team, and I mean he's been phenomenal. So that's kind of why I'm here. So I'm not just a random guy. I do know these guys. I've been freezing my ass off for the past week. No water and electricity is spotty. But how are you doing, Matt?
Man, I'm doing good. It's fun having the OG back in the mix for a video. But today we're here for we're talking wide receivers recruiting, like in wake of or after Malik Murphy just committed to Texas, the 5-star. There's kind of a ripple effect that usually happens when quarterbacks commit early on in classes. Then a lot of receivers and offensive line, running backs, a lot of the offensive players tend to try to follow certain quarterbacks and so on. So with Murphy in the boat now, we have an influx of receivers that we're looking at, and they're all really good options. I mean, and that's the Sark effect, because people want to play in Sark's offense, and the receivers are taking notice. And there's about 5 or 6 on the board, mainly 5 that we're really keying in on, and we're going to get into all those and just break down the pros and cons of each and how we see it playing out. Because I go down the message boards, and that's it's a huge topic. Which receivers is best? Which are we taking? Which ones should we not take? So we're going to break all that down. And hopefully by the time we release this, nothing happens, because recruiting's so fluid. It's hard to make recruiting videos. So we could release this, and then Evan Stewart could commit to Georgia or something in that time. So we'll try to get this out as fast as possible. But Thomas, what do you think about the receivers that we're looking at?
Well, I guess real quick, I should run through who the 5 main receivers we're going to be reviewing. So first of all, we're looking at Brennan Thompson from Spearman High School, class of 2022, of course. He's a 4-star recruit. He's 5'10", 165 pounds. And I guess kind of his niche is that he's known for for playing both football and track and field. He's got a very fast 100 meter. Next up, we're going to be looking at Evan Stewart, a 4-star out of Liberty High School from Frisco. He's 6 feet tall, 175 pounds, can play the outside and from the slot. Then we're going to get into CJ Williams, another 4-star out of Mater Dei High School from Santa Ana. And he is 6'2", 193 pounds, very smooth pass catcher. He can line up at multiple receiver positions. Then we're looking at Chris Marshall, the 3-star out of Fort Bend Marshall in Missouri City, Texas. He's 6'3", 195 pounds. And last but not least, we're going to be looking at Kevin Coleman from St. Mary's High School in St. Louis, Missouri. He's the smallest of the bunch, 5'10", 157 pounds, explosive speed, great separation. And so we got a whole lot to get into. That being said, well, let me go ahead and throw it to you first. Which wide receivers do you think we should prioritize from this bunch?
It's tough, because all these players are clearly head and shoulders above the receivers that we took in the class of 2021 with Herman. So you really can't go wrong with any of them. But I mean, we're splitting hairs here, obviously, but I would have to say that Evan Stewart and Brendan Thompson, the 2 speedsters from Texas, you have to get those guys in the boat if you can before looking at CJ and Chris Marshall and Kevin Coleman. Just watch the film. Evan Stewart and Brendan Thompson are so dynamic. The type of speed and agility that we haven't seen in Texas, in DKR in a long time. So, I mean, and for Sark's offense in particular, Evan Stewart and Brendan Thompson, I mean, Stewart's kind of like got a Hollywood Brown. That's kind of his comp, in my opinion, for him. And then Brennan Thompson plays a lot like Jalen Waddle, which is just, I mean, Jalen Waddle's like a cheat code, and Brennan Thompson, I mean, he's not going to be as good as Waddle, I don't think, but I mean, who knows? He looks super fast and he's really elusive. So those are definitely the guys I would look at first, and then right under them, I would look at Kevin Coleman and CJ Williams. But yeah, those are the guys I would prioritize. Like that's tier one for me is Thompson and Stewart.
Right. Okay. So I guess just to get into the meat and potatoes, and who do you think is the worst wide receiver of the bunch? I know you've got a few opinions on Kevin Coleman.
Man, it's funny because Kevin Coleman's the 5-star, the lone 5-star in the group, but I don't think it'll end up lasting that way. I think it'll end up being Evan Stewart as the 5-star when it's all said and done, if there's not multiple 5-stars. But yeah, Kevin Coleman, I mean, not to say he's bad. I think he's really good, but what is he, 5'10", 157 pounds? I'm sure he's put on more weight since 247's listing, so they're often inaccurate because people are always like putting on weight and stuff. So, but mainly when I watched the film, I think he's kind of built like, a Hollywood Brown, like, but back when he was in JUCO in high school, when he was really small. And if you're going to, and that's not like a bad thing, like you can be great at that size. I mean, look at Marquise Brown in the NFL right now, but I just didn't see the explosive, like just blur speed like some of these receivers have at that size. And not to say he doesn't have it, because I'm not even sure if Missouri played football this year. They may have not. I may have been watching sophomore film, but from what I saw, I just feel like Evan Stewart, Brennan Thompson, CJ Williams, Chris Marshall, a little more explosive. And I just kind of like having a little bigger frame. I do like small receivers with speed, but I think Coleman may end up being a little bit of a project, not a project, but he may take some time to, get his body ready to play it, in the Big 12. But right. Like I said, these are all really good players. We're splitting hairs, but if I had to rank one at the bottom, it'd be Kevin Coleman as of now.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, for me personally, I was looking more at. I don't want to say the worst, because in no way could I win any one-on-one matchups on anyone that plays for Texas, including the walk-ons. That being said, I had Chris Marshall ranked at the bottom. That's just because 3-star recruit, and really he didn't play football until last year, which is, I mean, I guess all things considered, that's pretty impressive. I mean, because he did win offensive MVP in his first year of playing, I guess, as a junior. So talent-wise, I mean, I guess there is potential there. He's 6'3", 195 pounds. He's got a big frame, but yeah, just the lack of experience there for me is kind of why I ranked him at the bottom. But I guess that being said, we can why don't we go ahead and get into the rankings? How would you rank these receivers?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I would go number 1, Brennan Thompson. Number 2, Evan Stewart, and that's like a 1A, 1B type situation. Number 3, I would go CJ Williams, actually, which may be surprising to a lot of Texas fans. I know that some Texas fans are not as high on CJ Williams as I am. But I mean, when you're playing at modern day and making the plays like that he makes as a sophomore, he even plays a junior because they had their season canceled. Hopefully they play here soon in March. California's trying to get their season going in the spring, so that'd be fun to watch him play. But yeah, CJ Williams at number 3, and then Chris Marshall and Kevin Coleman. I feel like you said, I feel bad putting Chris Marshall ahead of Kevin Coleman. It's mainly just a projection pick. Like right now, I'm sure Kevin Coleman's better. But Chris Marshall, man, for what he did in 1 year of playing football and just the sheer like size and speed combo, kind of like a Malcolm Williams. If y'all remember Malcolm Williams at Texas, he's kind of got that type of ability. So I would put Chris Marshall nearly above Kevin Coleman at 4, and then Kevin Coleman at 5. But yeah, that's how I'd rank him right now.
Okay, cool. Well, let me ask you a quick question, actually. So for Brennan Thompson, I have Brennan Thompson listed right here at 5'10", 165 pounds, and Kevin Coleman at let me make sure this is right. But Kevin Coleman, yeah, at 5'10", 157 pounds. So really, size-wise, they're pretty comparable. So I guess what's the thing that really pushes Brennan Thompson over Kevin Coleman for you?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like I said, though, 247 can be spotty with their heights and weights because it always seems to be changing. So I just based on the film, really, I just feel like Brennan Thompson looks a lot bigger and more built out there. But that's not to say Kevin Coleman's like small or anything like that. I mean, it could be the competition because Brennan Thompson does play 3A, which is not the highest level of football. I don't know what division Kevin Coleman's playing in. Maybe he's playing bigger dudes out there and he just looks smaller by default. So that could be a reason for like my little bias against Kevin Coleman, if you want to call it that, which it's not even a bias. I would love to have Kevin Coleman at Texas. But I mean, I guess it's just the body type and the film. I guess maybe the competition, like I said, plays into it. But yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just have like a dumb idea in my head that Kevin Coleman's too small.
Oh no. I mean, those are all good picks. I guess I could get into mine real quick. So I actually have Evan Stewart as number one, and he's 6 feet tall, 175 pounds. Mostly, I think my main reason for having him at number one is because I think he's going to fit in with the Sarkisian offense a little bit better. We know that Sark likes to move more towards man-to-man, and I think Evan Stewart will excel in those one-on-one matchups, and he should get a lot of those looks during the season. So I think insofar as like fitting in with Texas, I think Evan Stewart's definitely going to be up there. Number two, and this is where me and you deviate a little bit. I have Kevin Coleman at number two. Now, granted, yeah, I know that he is small, but and one thing that we were talking about yesterday is just that you can kind of say that Devontae Smith is is very small for a wide receiver, and that Devontae Smith, granted, he's a little bit taller. He's 6'1", 175 pounds, so he's filled out a little bit more. But I mean, he's the first wide receiver to win the Heisman since who was the last one? It was probably it was Desmond Howard in 1991. So it's been like God knows how long since a wide receiver has won. So I don't know. I think there's potential for Kevin Coleman to develop at Texas, and I mean, I really do think that you have to factor in for those intangibles. I mean, obviously this would be a whack comparison, but I mean, Tom Brady was picked 199 and has won 7 Super Bowls, and that's just because I mean, he's got a competitive nature, he knows the game, and I mean, more than anything, he just has heart. So, and what I saw from Kevin Coleman on a lot of the film that I was watching was, I mean, great speed, very competitive nature, and he had great hands, and I think maybe he's capable of having some of those intangibles that we could develop. At number 3, I have CJ Williams. The only reason why I had CJ Williams at number 3 over Brennan Thompson was just because he has a little bit better competition at modern day, and he's 6'2", 193 pounds. So he's got his frame already developed more or less than Brennan Thompson does. Brennan Thompson, I mean, again, we don't know how accurate this 247's height and weight differentials are, but Brennan Thompson at 5'10", 165 pounds has a little bit more room to develop, but there's still something to be said about him because he's the fastest recruit of this bunch, right? And he's even faster than Evan Stewart, and he ran the 100 meter in 10.32 seconds. So he's got speed clearly, and kind of like what I was saying earlier, I had Chris Marshall at the bottom, 3-star recruit, and that's only just because of his lack of experience per se. That's not to say that he can't develop, but yeah, that's where my picks stand. Let's see, which wide receivers do you think Malik Murphy can pull with? Just kind of moving it along there. I know it was a fast transition.
No, you're right. I mean, Kevin Coleman and CJ Williams are the guys, obviously, that Malik Murphy's close with, especially CJ Williams. They're both in the Southern California. They're best friends, I want to say. And they've definitely spoken about playing together, but so is Kevin Coleman. They've also talked about playing together at the next level. I think Kevin Coleman listed 4 quarterbacks that he would play with at the next level, and Murphy was one of them. So I think that relationship with Murphy being on, in the class now will definitely help us land at least one of them, if not both of them. But if I had to pick one, I would say CJ Williams would be an easier pull than Kevin Coleman based on his relationship with Murphy. Okay,
cool. And I guess just as a related note to what we were discussing, or kind of what I was touching on with CJ Williams having better competition at modern day. It's modern day, right? That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm getting that right. Okay. How important is it getting wide receivers from Texas versus from other states like California, in your opinion?
I feel like it shouldn't be Texas versus other states, but that's just how it is, mainly because the high school coaching and just high school football in general in Texas is like really tribal. And these coaches, they hold grudges sometimes. If Sark comes in his first class and then he passes up like Evan Stewart, Brennan Thompson, and Chris Marshall, guys like that, and ends up just taking like a bunch of receivers from Missouri, California, state, like other states, then a lot of these coaches in the high school ranks get their feelings hurt, or they tend to trust Texas or Sark a little bit less, opposed to in-state schools that take in-state players. I'm not sure why that is. I think it's kind of, the Texas forever type, Texas pride over everything. And I mean, I'm all for that. So yeah, I think this year, being year one of the Sark era at Texas, I think you got to, at least get one of Evan Stewart, Chris Marshall, or Brennan Thompson. At least one, hopefully two of the top three targets in state, just kind of to set the tone, especially since we have an out-of-state quarterback. You don't want to do an out-of-state quarterback and a bunch of out-of-state receivers. I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind it, but just the optics to the high school coaches, which ultimately are super important. You have to have that relationship with your Sark so you can, build a program here in Texas based on Texas talent. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is important. So hopefully we get some Texas kids in the mix and get them in the class.
Yeah, and I guess one thing I wanted to kind of touch on too, on a related note, is what do you think Texas can do to compare recruiting compared to other schools, or to improve recruiting compared to other schools like Bama, for example? What are some things you think we can improve? I mean, aside from winning, because that's the obvious answer, right? I mean, if we're winning a championship every year, and a lot of guys are getting picked to go to the league, then everyone's going to want to come to Texas. But what are some things you think that we could improve on?
Yeah, winning is definitely number one, and that's kind of a cop-out answer, but yes, winning is like the gold standard of getting recruits would be starting with winning. Second would be NFL production. NFL production has really been stale since Mac Brown, and that's not to say that we don't have good players in the league. Some of Charlie's guys ended up being good players in the league, like Omenahu, Deshaun Elliott, Brandon Jones. There's players in the league, but just the NFL draft output, specifically in the first round, they haven't had a first round pick in forever, and recruits notice that. And then schools that are in the SEC will just say, oh, the SEC has X amount of first rounders, Texas has 0, and stuff like that. So definitely NFL draft production needs to step up, and winning on the field, obviously. But also Texas needs to just recruit a little more SEC style, in my opinion. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, I think we've assembled definitely a better staff than we had under. Oh, I know it's a better staff recruiting wise over Herman's staff and Charlie's staff. So I think we're going to have a better staff just in general to, bring in recruits. So we're going to start seeing dividends there soon, I would imagine. But
I definitely think sorry, continue.
No, I agree. I agree. I was about to finish. I was just going to say, just let these staff, this hyped staff do their thing, and then go win on the field, and then produce some NFL players, which I think we will start doing here shortly. Then Texas will always be in the top 5, top 3 of recruiting, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. See, one thing that I was thinking too is that, well, obviously I think recruiting is going to get better now that we let go of Tom Herman. We got the Sark guys in. So that's good. But this may be a bad take, and it may sound a little bit old head, but like one thing that I saw that Texas did a while ago that sometimes I wish some of these recruits heard, and maybe they do hear it, but I don't know, maybe they don't consider it as much, is that you have a 3.8% chance of getting to the league. So like 3.8% of draft eligible players make it to the NFL. And among those, on average, you have 3.3 years in the NFL at an $860,000 median salary. After, let's just say that's 42% in taxes, you get like 1.65 million in earnings. And the problem is that you'd have to, if you didn't develop any other skills, that you'd have to make that stretch for a long period of time. Granted, you could make a lot of investments here and there that could make that money last. But I don't know. I just feel like I kind of wish sometimes that Texas's like academic reputation kind of helped to recruit a little bit more. I don't know if I'm sure that they hit on that a lot, but I don't know if maybe, what do you think? Do you think a lot of people just don't really care too much about that, or?
No, that's
not in the back of their head.
That should be, emphasized more, because the people that we recruit against, like LSU, A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia has pretty good academics, but we largely have way better academics than all of them. So, I mean, some of these players honestly don't care too much about academic prestige. They just kind of want to go. They're thinking only NFL, and they're trying to figure out the best NFL route, which Texas can get there shortly, in my opinion. But as of the last 10 years, we haven't really been doing it. So I think that's kind of been a lot of these recruits' focus. But yeah, I mean, you're totally right. A lot of these kids do care about academics. Like Jaden Blue just committed to Texas. He's a highly ranked 4-star, and he's going to study engineering here, I think. And he's big on academics. So it definitely can help, but there's only just so much you can do, because I would say like the majority of the players aren't focused mainly on academics. Like academics kind of, it takes a back seat to like the football part of everything.
Yeah, and granted, I guess if I had that much talent, I probably would have focused more on football than my academic career than anything. But that being said, if any of y'all are watching this, hey, Austin's a fun city. We got 6th Street. We got the Domain. We got West 6th Street. Great job markets. Come to Texas, please. Please come to Texas. So which wide receivers do you think ultimately end up in the class then?
So I would predict it. I think the most surefire thing right now, honestly, surprisingly, is CJ Williams. And that may be unpopular. Evan Stewart is also a guy who seemed to have committed to Texas or was about to. Then he pulled out last second. Some of his family talked to him and told him to hold up. But I think he wants to be at Texas. With Evan Stewart, though, it's kind of scary now because TCU's in there, and so is Georgia. Those are like the two schools you don't want in there with the player we're after, because TCU is just notorious for negatively recruiting Texas and just damaging relationships that we have with recruits. And then Georgia, just the machine of cash that they are in recruiting. They're really good at recruiting, and they can get whoever they want, it seems like. So you don't want them in there, which is kind of making me nervous about Evan Stewart. So I hope we can still get him. But if I had to predict it right now, I would say Evan Stewart will be a Longhorn. It's close, though. That's not a guarantee. I'd say Evan Stewart's in the class, CJ Williams. I bet Kevin Coleman ends up somewhere else. I mean, that's a long shot. It's not like Inside Texas says that we lead for him, so we'll see where that goes. I mean, that could very well happen, but it never goes as beautifully as you plan it out. So we'll say we miss on Kevin Coleman. And then Brendan Thompson, the guy that I really want, that'll come down to Oklahoma pushing, I think. I think he's really waiting on OU to push for him. And if they do, because they're kind of filled up at receiver, honestly, if they do push for him, I think that'll be a Sooner. But if they don't, and then we push for him, I think he'll be a Longhorn. But A&M's in the mix there too. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. And then lastly, Chris Marshall, I think he's going to be an Aggie. I think we got in on him too late. And I don't know, but there's a long way to go. It's all speculation at this point. But right now I'm going CJ Williams, Evan Stewart, Brendan Thompson, which would be a really good haul. And then obviously we have Armani Winfield already committed. So that'd be a great, 4 receivers to build the offense around with Malik Murphy.
Right. Yeah. The only 2 that I see really that I think we'd probably have on lock are CJ Williams, Brendan Thompson as well. The rest, I can't speculate too much on. So among those, then who do you think will fit in the best with the Sarkisian offense? As in, like, who do you think is going to get, I guess, the most touches right out of the gate, if any of them?
Well, I hate to speculate too far forward because none of them are committed or signed.
This is down the line.
But yeah, just hypothetically, I mean, I feel like you couldn't keep Brendan Thompson or Evan Stewart off the field really as freshmen, especially considering what we have at receiver right now. We don't have that type of speed at all on our roster, so I feel like they'd be on the field definitely. And then people always trash CJ Williams, or they don't trash him, but they kind of say one of the cons about him is just he's not very fluid. He's not very fast. I mean, I watched his film over and over again at Modern Day, his sophomore highlights, and dude is super smooth, on his RPO game and deep slants, posts. I feel like he runs those routes that Sark likes to run really nicely. Really, just makes it look super easy. Just outruns DBs, and then he has good hands and can make plays. So I feel like CJ Williams could also fit in well on the outside. in Sark's offense. But yeah, hopefully we land all these guys because I think they'd all be great fits, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, is there anything else that you think we could touch on? Anything else that we haven't touched on yet?
No, I don't think so. I think we just need to hopefully we get one of these guys to commit soon. It's always fun when they're committing left and right. I think our last commit was we had that Malik Murphy, Travell Johnson, 2 in one day. And so hopefully we'll have some more fireworks popping off soon. I think we will. I mean, it's only a matter of time, in my opinion. We have a lot of momentum with the class, a lot of momentum with the O-line, and some of the secondary, like Bryce Anderson, Denver Harris, guys like that. So I think I'm really happy with where the staff's at right now in recruiting. But I've said that before, and we need to go ahead and close the book on these guys and not just let these leans that we have fizzle out. We need to go, seal the deal, and that's what Sark's being paid the big money for, and that's why we're paying Jeff Banks $1 million a year. So I think our staff will get it done.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully we can get a good return on our investment there. Yeah, it was looking a little bleak there with towards the end of the Tom Herman era for a little while. I was definitely getting a little bit concerned. I was worried that we were gonna end up in like a 20-year rut, but I don't know. It looks like bringing in Sark got us back on track more or less. So I'm happy. I mean, I'm optimistic about where the season's going to go, and I mean, I think we have a lot of potential here with this group of wide receivers. So we'll see where it goes.
Yes, sir. That's going to be it for us. Thank y'all so much for watching all the way through. If you're here, we really appreciate it. Like and subscribe as always. Comment. Let us know who you think's the best receivers on the board. Tell us why we're wrong. All that good stuff. And we'll have more videos out soon. I'm sure Matt and Trevor will be back in the mix probably next week or whenever we do our next video. So keep an eye out for that. But anything else, Thomas? Or are we good?
No, that's about it. Just stay warm. Hopefully none of y'all are too cold, and hopefully you got a lot of water and food. We're going to be good soon.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's about it. Hook 'em.